Hello everyone. In this video I'm going to make you more familiar with Android Studio. As you can see, when we open Android Studio for the first time, what happens is that all of these all of these unknown stuff comes in front of our eyes, and it seems very difficult. But truth is, these all of these stuff, they are not difficult at all. They are very simple and they are very useful also, and you will later on realize that actually having all of these options here helps you develop your Android applications more easily. So these are not really complicated. These are stuff that makes your application development really simple. All right, so the first thing that you might have noticed in this case is this section here. I will be talking about this section, but let me just start from the location from here, because that will, in my opinion, that will be easier to understand. All right, so let's just cross this one and this one. So there is nothing on this screen right now. Now, one thing I mentioned in my first video is this, that while developing Android applications, there will be lots and lots and lots of files. And what Android IDE, this is the integrated development environment. What this IDE does is that it manages all of your files automatically, right? So that's what I said, and these are the files that I was talking about. These are the files. Now if you open these files, you will see that there are a lot of subfolders. An interesting fact is that this is not the only files. Now don't worry, this is really simple, you will understand, and you will not learn everything on day one, right? So you don't have to stress about it at the moment. Anyway, now these are not the only files. Actually, the truth is, if you open the projects view, then you will see these are all the files that are related, that are needed in order to develop your Android application. But when you work with these files, it becomes really complicated, right? It's already looks complicated. So Android Studio provides you with this much simpler one, which is this view here, which is much simpler. And in this view, what it presents is are the files. In this view, it presents the files that we work with most of the time, right? So these are the files that we work with most of the time. All right, and we don't we ignore the ones that are not relevant and that are taken care of automatically for us. All right, okay, now let's just get to know the files that we have here. Well, if we open this one, the application app folder, inside this, the first folder that you will see is the manifest folder. Now this manifest file, if you open this looks like this. All right, now this file is very important. Now at the moment I can't explain this file because you will not understand, but for now just know that this file is very important, and we will be talking about it in detail later on. All right, just remember this one. This is there. Remember that there is this file called manifest file, which is important. All right, okay. The next file is the Java file. Now inside this folder, inside this Java folder, there are 3 subsections. Now as a beginner, you don't have to know the second and the third one, because these are the ones that we use to test our application. As a very beginner, what you need to know is the first one, which holds the activity files inside this. Now in our current application, we only have one activity. Now just in case you forgot what is an activity is a screen. An activity is an screen on your phone. Anything that you see, any screen that you see on your phone is an activity. Now using Java code, we create activities. We don't use only Java code, we use XML code, we use different kind of resources. I will be talking about these stuff within a few minutes, but for now, know that mainly your activity is created with Java, and that's why this is inside your Java file. And here you can have more than one activity also, because your application, the real life application, can have more than one activity. All right, now in this case, inside the Java file, this is the file that you should know, which is activity. Now if you double click on it, you will find that this is just a Java file. You have a package name, you have to import some relevant classes, and then you have a method here. Now I will be talking about these code here later on, but for now just know that this is an important file which is called which is an activity file, and an activity file is a Java file. Okay, and you don't have to know about these two at the moment. Now the next one is generated Java. Now about this generated Java, we are going to talk about it talk about this file later on. At the moment we are not going to touch it. Alright, the next file here is this resource folder. Now what is this resource folder? I have to inform you is this, that when you are developing an Android application, you must already realize that Android application is not just Java code. It cannot be just Java code, right? It has different alternative resources, different other resources. For example, when you add a video, when you add a background image to your application, that is not a Java code, right? That is a resource, that is a image resource, for example. Then there are a lot of for example written values, right? There are a lot of, let's say, strings. There are a lot of strings. Now all of these strings, they are not exactly Java code, they are not Java methods, they are not Java classes, they are strings. And inside a application you might have a lot of strings, because in a real world, when you are creating a real application, there are a lot of stuff that you have to write. And then when you are designing your Android application, you will find that there are different types of color combinations. Now these color combinations, let me by the way inform you that colors are defined using different codes inside Android applications, and you will see how exactly we do that. But right now, for now, just know that when you are creating those colors, those strings, these are not exactly Java files, these are not exactly Java code. These are different kind of resources, like image, like animation, like a video, like a string, like a color code, all of these. So what happens is that all of these resources that we use them, we keep them, the resources that we use, we keep all of those resources in one single file, which is this resource file. Okay, this resource file. Now inside this resource file there are subfolders, and these subfolders are for different types of resources. For example, if this drawable file here in this file, we put all the images that we use in our Android application, right? Then there is this file called layout file. Now we have to talk about this layout section at the moment. Now what is layout? You see, I just in my previous video, in the last video, I said that an Android application is not again made with only Java file. There is a design section also. There is a section where you have to design. Let me just click it, then you will understand it even better. See, there is a section. This is the file, right? This is the file. Okay, now when we open this is the window that opened. Now when we are creating an Android application, we don't do it only using this file, which is the Java section. We don't use it using the Java section only. We use a design section also. We have to design our application, right? So this is the file where we put our layouts. This is the layout. These designs, they are called layout, and this layout is actually created using a coding language called XML. All right, so this is that file, and this layout is actually kept here. All right, we are going to talk about this section and different kind of resources with different resolutions later on. At the moment you will not understand it. I will explain it later on, and you will understand it very well when I do. And so this is a for now, just know that this is a different file also that holds different kind of resource. All right, the next one here is this values folder. Let me just keep this one, values folder. Now remember, I said that there are different kind of color combinations. you see, I say that when we define colors inside an Android application, we actually have to use different kind of codes, right? And we will be talking about those codes even in more details later on, but for now just look at this. These are the codes of this color. This is the code of this color, this is the code of this color, this is the code of this color, and we keep all of these codes inside a single folder, which is this color.xml file, because this is an XML file. Now all of the designs that we do those designs using XML language. Now this is here the string folder. Now I said that we might have different kind of strings, and in our case here, since this is a very beginner app, there are not many strings, but the strings that we will have when developing Android applications, all of those strings, for example the name of a button, the text view, any name, any button, any text that we use inside our Android application is going to be inside this folder. Now having such folder has a lot of advantages, and you will learn all of these advantages later on. For now, for example, let's say, why are we keeping our strings in a single file? Now one of the advantages of that is this. You see, when you are developing an Android application, let's say you have developed an Android application using the English language, right? Now later on you decided that, okay, I'm not going to use this in English language. I'm going to do it using Chinese language. Now if you wanted to do that, then what you would have to do is that you have to go to your code and you have to check line by line where are all those strings are, and then you would be searching for those strings, and then you would be changing those strings one by one, right? But having all of these strings in one place, let's say you had hundreds of strings and you had all of those in one place, then what you would do is that you would just come to this page and you would just change all of these values using different options, different coding, and then you would just change one page here, and your entire application will be changed into a Chinese version of your Android application. See, that makes it really easy to handle it. Alright, now here this is another XML file where we define different styles that we use in our Android application. We will be talking about it later on.